Vous allez supporter le Real Madrid, ¿verdad?
Bro, there's a time and a place. They literally just lost. I admit that was a miscalculation. We've seen a lot of shots being taken by home sides in this week's round of Champions League fixtures. Real Madrid and PSG combined for 49 overall. They went fully on the offense. Kendrick Lamar would be proud. But in the end, only one of these teams managed to make their home ground advantage count for them. And it was the one that we all expected. PSG's bad luck in the Champions League met Harry Kane's bad luck in his hunt for silverware. The entirety of Madrid were on edge for what seemed like ages, all the while Carlo Ancelotti remained the coolest man in all of Europe. Borussia Dortmund have taken on all comers, defied all expectations, and could very well do it again. The semi-finals are over. The season is on its final legs, and we have ourselves another Champions League review. Hello everyone, hope we're all doing well. Welcome back to the channel. I've been receiving a lot of love for these Champions League reviews I've been doing, so I guess I'll just keep doing them. But I am thinking about putting them on a different channel and keeping this one for the more essay-based videos, you know, the longer scripted research videos, because I really love doing those and I don't want to dilute the content too much, but I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. Moving along. Before the match, I predicted that PSG were going to go through in this game for several reasons. They were the home team, they were the more attacking in the previous round, and they're already French champions. But at the same time, I'm not a very smart man. I've never been good at predictions. Heck, I thought Drake was gonna win this beef after I heard push-ups. I've been wrong before, I will be wrong again. But I think I had good reasoning. Dortmund have been shocking this year, their worst season in over 10 years. Then again, I did forget that it has been an emotional week for this team. Marco Reus announced that after 12 years, he was leaving Borussia Dortmund. Also, as if I really needed to say it, Dortmund were already every neutral's favorite to go through to the finals, probably even to win the whole competition. The Reus announcement definitely added fire to this flame. In this match, it was kind of PSG versus the world. I've more or less expected Dortmund to go out at every stage of this competition, not just because of their league form, but also because they've been put up against some pretty strong opposition so far. The group of death, and then both the Dutch champions and French champions in the knockouts, and Atletico Madrid. It's crazy stuff. Straight off the bat, Mbappe started off the left with Gonçalo Ramos starting in the center. A welcome change from last week, I would think. And surprise, surprise, he gets himself on the ball within the first 2 minutes and fires a shot on target. Ryerson was doing very well against Mbappe though, he was keeping up pace. The Luis Enrique influence has very much showed for PSG this season with their controlled build-up play, but again, and this isn't the first time I've seen it this season, they just don't know how to finish. They get up to the final third and then nothing. In that first half, we pretty much followed the same script as the last game. PSG were taking their time and Dortmund were being confined to counters. Karim Adeyemi is one of the most electric players out there and was leading many of these counters. And he's definitely one of the most athletic players too. There was a point during the match where he's on the floor and for no reason, for no good reason at least, he does one of those backwards rolls into handstands and then gets on his feet. Why? I don't know, but it looked cool. It was Dortmund that drew first blood, as they did before. Mats Hummels is likely the best defender of the Champions League so far this season, and he keeps showing us why, despite his age. He was already having a wonderful performance with some crucial tackles, but he solidified yet another huge performance with another goal. But if we're all being honest, the defending here is quite shocking. A routine corner kick and 6'4" Mats Hummels is being left pretty much unattached. Odd. Deservedly man of the match, as he was last week, and the rest of the game was pretty much just about holding it down. The impenetrable fortress of Gregor Kobel's goal at Parc des Princes just would not be opened. But this was a tad lucky too. Along with Hummels, the upright was Dortmund's star performer. Mbappe, Vitinha, Zaire Emery, and Mendes all cracked the post. And even PSG's feeble attempts to fish for fouls in and around the box came up short. Dembele was smiling after he knocked Barcelona out. Unfortunately, they weren't the former club that he should have been worrying about. All joking aside, this was an incredible performance by Borussia Dortmund. Every single one of those players committed to the cause, and you know what? They can just chalk down a lot of those near misses to the football gods not wanting PSG or Nasser Al-Khelaifi to lift the trophy, which is the only explanation I can think of. Jadon Sancho is in a Champions League final. Everyone. All the Sancho detractors are losing sleep over this. I'm personally not one of them, but if I was, I'd be sleeping pretty well. And that's because I have a Manta sleep mask. I'm sorry? I tried to make that transition as smooth as possible. Manta Sleep are graciously sponsoring this video, and their timing has been fantastic. I've been doing a bit of traveling recently, and I'm sure a lot of you know that when you're in transit, it can be tough to get some good rest. Manta Sleep are devoted to making sure you sleep and nap in comfort by providing a wide range of high-quality sleeping masks. Being a user myself, I can safely say Manta Sleep masks are comfortable, great at blocking out light, and very good around the eyes with well-designed cushioning. There's also a mask for every occasion. Cool, steam, weighted, silk, and even Bluetooth speaker masks like the one I have. However you like to sleep best, they've got you covered. I obviously don't recommend sneaking off to nap at work, but if you do, I have some recommendations. Be sure to follow the link in the description or use this code if you want to get 10% off your purchase and finally get a good night's sleep. Thanks again to Manta Sleep for sponsoring this video. This has been a common phrase over the past 10 months or so, but it hasn't been the greatest week for Bayern Munich. Not only have they already lost the Bundesliga, but they're coming off the back of a loss to Stuttgart, which is significant because they are only 2 points off them right now with 2 games left to go. It's entirely possible that Bayern Munich finish the season off in third. Rejecting the Bayern Munich management position for next season has also been trending amongst coaches for some reason. Tuchel ruled out staying on, which I don't think he needed to do. Xabi Alonso, Ralf Rangnick, Unai Emery. I mean, this is getting ridiculous. Who are they gonna go for next? Who are they going to go for next? Madrid, on the other hand, are all smiles. They've just been confirmed as La Liga champions and did it without a main striker. It's the stuff of legends. This game was almost the opposite to last week's game. Madrid, being the home side, were the aggressors and took the game straight to Bayern. Similar to the Dortmund game, it was a case of the away side looking to break on the counter and remaining resolute in defense. Again, I was really impressed by Leimer. He was all action. I really like watching him work. In the first half, I thought Vinicius was playing quite central and wasn't really able to influence games in the same way that he usually does, but as the game progressed on, we saw that influence come in. He was causing big problems for Joshua Kimmich. Man was being cooked, no other way to put it. It was brutal. Bayern needed a Kyle Walker, it seems. Rudiger was just about perfect in the roles that he's been given in this Champions League campaign, in the La Liga campaign overall. He was great. Kane is a very tricky customer due to his movement and how quickly the ball gets out of his feet, but for the most part, him and Nacho kept him at bay. Mandi did well against Sané too. He wasn't much of a threat either, but the moment that changed the game came after half-time. During a period where Canada truly needed a win, Alphonso Davies came to the rescue. Davies has been fighting to prove his worth for some time now, and he came good in the one game that really mattered, or at least he had a good moment. We've been hearing rumors that Madrid are in for Alphonso Davies, but have been having some doubts because of dips in performances, but at the same time, we're also seeing rumors that Madrid are looking to extend Ferland Mendy's contract, and at the same time as all of that, Bayern Munich wants to get rid of Davies because his contract is up at the end of next season, and if they don't, he's going for free. So who knows what'll happen. But Davies doesn't want to let it get to that point because the big man at left wing made everyone second guess their opinions about him right away. A fierce weak foot shot after cutting inside. And this is where we have to give Bayern their credit for holding down the fort and defending really well for a large portion of the game where they had the lead. If you were to tell a Spurs fan that Eric Dyer was going to be Bayern Munich's best defender for the 23-24 season in January, I think they'd laugh you out the room. But here we are. At the same time though, I think everybody always knows that Real Madrid black magic is always a possibility. So even in the 87th minute at 1-0 down, the possibility of Real Madrid winning the match without going to extra time is quite strong. I've seen people saying that a good betting strategy is to put money on Madrid when they're down in those situations because it pays dividends. What really made me believe that black magic was coming was that all of Musiala, Kane and Sané were taken off, leaving Bayern bare up front. It's exactly what you want to do against Madrid at the Bernabeu, I guess. Especially when Madrid have been relentlessly attacking you all game. Manuel Neuer was pulling off some incredible saves just out of his black hat, and I guess Tuchel thought that he would be able to do that for the rest of the game? I don't know, man. And would you look at that? Black magic. I gotta say, man, Real Madrid's ability to turn into the beast that we know them to be late in matches is really commendable. The way they started running when the clock hit about 80, that was scary. I can only imagine what those Bayern Munich players were thinking in those moments. When was the last time Manuel Neuer fumbled the ball like that? I honestly have no idea. It was almost like there was some kind of spiritual interference making that all happen, you know? It's just, no, that's stupid. That didn't happen. Madrid won La Liga without a striker, as I said, but it was a striker they brought in as backup from a relegated Espanyol that won the game for them. First lashing onto the Manuel Neuer fumble, then getting on the end of a Rudiger cross in the 91st minute. Who needs Kylian Mbappe? This man was asking Twitter for streaming links to a Real Madrid match back in 2012. Whoever hooked him up with a link is entitled to tickets to the final, as far as I'm concerned. This was a fantastic game to watch, a classic Real Madrid Champions League night. So it's a shame that this match and this result is going to be overshadowed by some poor refereeing decisions. Matthijs de Ligt scores a goal that was disallowed after it was deemed that a Bayern player was offsides. I'm going to be honest here and say that I haven't seen any replays with lines drawn or anything to see if it was actually onside or offside, but what I will say is that on my initial viewing, it did look like it was onside. That doesn't matter. I think we can all agree that that's not where the issue lies here. Aren't refs supposed to let play go on in those situations? Offsides or onsides? Aren't situations like this supposed to go to a VAR check? Situations pretty similar to this happened already twice in this very same match, both times for Real Madrid. One was given after a check, one wasn't. Bayern didn't even get the chance. After the match, De Ligt said that the linesman apologized to him for making a mistake, which is fair, I guess. I mean, you won't see that happening in the Premier League, but still, it doesn't change anything. And also, before anyone says that it was or wasn't a goal, we have to remember that Militao and Lunin stopped playing completely when the whistle blew. It's impossible to know if he would have scored or not if actual procedure were followed. And on the topic of proper procedure, this match went to 15 minutes of added time when only 9 were supposed to be played. Now, I'm well aware that there was a lot of time wasting going on, but it's very rare that we see this much added time being played on top of added time. Someone bring Clement Turpin back. On to some final notes. Vinicius Jr. is fantastic. This season, it seems like he always is. If you watch this channel, you watch me talk about him, you already know how I feel about the guy. He's unbelievable, and his attitude is unmatched. Early in his career, people would dump on him for not passing the ball and dribbling too much, and he still does that, but he will run more than anyone else on the pitch, and he has a final product. Depending on the Euros, UCL final, and Copa America, I find it hard to imagine that the Ballon d'Or is going to anyone but either him, Bellingham, maybe Kroos, maybe Florian Wirtz as a wild card if Leverkusen win Europa. Bayern were incredibly wasteful on the break in this match. They had so many counter-attacking opportunities. They should have scored more, and if not for the incredible passing brilliance of Harry Kane, I think they wouldn't have scored at all. At this point, it really isn't a joke anymore. Harry Kane is the best player in Bayern Munich. He scored more goals than anyone else in Europe's top 5 leagues. For his age group and nationality, he's the best player of his generation, and yet here we are. Jude Bellingham, again, was a little bit invisible in this match. Whenever he was on the ball, he would lose it really quickly, and again, he looked quite gassed. Not a terrible performance by any means, but, you know, just by his standards, quite low. He was being played out wide on the left, so that would, I guess, affect his performances somewhat, with Tchouameni and Kroos being in the middle. Carlo Ancelotti, former Everton manager, is in a Champions League semi-final. It's a real fairy tale story. But seriously, Carlo Ancelotti is in a Champions League final for the 6th time, more than any other manager, which is incredible. And all it took was a dressing room full of friends. The power of friendship, some may say. This man took the likes of Maldini, Pirlo, and Shevchenko to the Champions League final back in 2003. Fast forward 21 years, and he's doing the same with Valverde, Bellingham, Vinny Jr., and everyone else. And somehow Luka Modric is younger than all of them. PSG have spent over €1 billion on only Neymar and Mbappe, and they are nowhere close. It's tough, man. As for who's gonna win the whole thing, like I said, I'm not a betting man and I'm also not great at predictions, But if I were, I'd probably go for the team that's going for their 15th title overall. I don't know, I think that's probably the safest bet. But at the same time, I wouldn't count Borussia Dortmund out. They're perfectly capable of pulling something out of their hat. You shouldn't count them out either. Then again, Madrid have played and beaten every German team in this year's competition so far, and they haven't lost a European Cup final since 1980. But again, anything can happen. And there we have it. Let me know what you guys thought about these semi-final results. Just a heads up, I'm not going to be doing a final review for the Champions League final because that's going to be part of the season-long review that I do at the end of every season. And based on how the writing's going, that's going to be the longest one that I've done so far. So you can watch out for that one. And that's all from me today. Hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you're having a great day. Cheers, and I will catch you in the next one.